AATBirds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need. All about the birds. It's all birds, all the time.
And what's up, everybody? We have the AATBirds Weekly Report. We are going to be talking about the disrespect the Philadelphia Eagles are getting, coming off of Super Bowl 59, winning the Super Bowl, winning it all. A couple of rankings that have come out I want to definitely talk about. There's not much going on, so there isn't, a ton that's happening right now as the NHL basketball seasons have ended. Training camp isn't starting quite yet. We have, of course, you have the drafts of those respected leagues in the NBA and the NHL coming up this week. But we're still going to talk football as we do, as always, all birds, all the time. Matt, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing well, man. How you doing? I am feeling the disrespect, though. I will say.
You take a look now. Again, some of it is some engagement farming. I do know some of that, but when you have like the bigger essential brands or pages or whatever you want to call it, bringing up some of these rankings that we will talk about, bringing up where the Eagles stand, it's pretty preposterous. Now, I understand like some of the radio stations saying certain things because they need to get their viewers up and sell ads and all that crap. But, for me, like taking a look at some of these rankings the last couple of days, it's just it's ridiculous. Like when you take a look at the team who just came off winning the Super Bowl, and I can't fathom how you can do that. Like the first one I want to talk about is the coaching rankings. Now, I didn't send that one to you. We sent to the other one that we're going to talk about shortly. But was it PFF?
Yeah, I have it pulled up if you want me to run through them.
Yeah, so PFF had put you can run through them. I'm going to pull it up on my end here.
Andy Reid, number one. The loser of the Super Bowl, number one.
I understand that just because when you take a look at what they've done the last 5 years, and him as a head coach in general, I get that. Now, this is by Dalton Wasserman, somebody who is on PFF, but this is what his top 10 returning head coaches are. Now,
number two surprised me. Once again, I get what he's trying to say, but number two is Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, like to me, like what has Sean Payton done recently?
I mean, has he won anything since 2009?
Yeah, like maybe a couple playoff game here or there, but to have him number two is just ridiculous. Like I know that they had a good season last year with Bo Nix at quarterback. He's in his second year. I get that. Their defense is still, very solid, quality defense. But again, when you look at that division, they still have to go up against Kansas City and the Chargers, which we'll get to one of their head coaches a little bit later. But listen, he hasn't done much recently. Like there should be a little bit of some recency bias. Yeah, like there should be some recency bias here when you're looking about returning head coaches. What have they done lately? Like you can't go of like what somebody did literally half a decade ago, even more than that, almost a decade ago.
No, to be fair, Sean Payton coached his ass off last year. I mean, he had that team,
he was off a couple of years, but
he had that team playing way above where they probably should have been.
Yeah,
like they far surpassed expectations. They made some serious noise. They have a really good defense. He's always had a strong running game. So I see where they're going. Number two is a little rich. That's all. I know a guy that I might put at number 2.
Is he number 8 on the list?
He happens to be number 8 on the list. So we'll go, spoiler alert, we'll go to number 3, Sean McVay.
Again, listen, the Rams had a really good season. They played really well. You know, a lot of these young guys that have been playing the last couple of years have really stepped up. So they've kind of revamped that roster from what it was after they won the Super Bowl to kind of what it is now. So, you know, I'll give Sean McVay his props on there. He's definitely in the top 5 conversation, no doubt. Even, you know, 3, I can't really say that's a terrible decision. Like the 3-4 range may be best for him. He's definitely top 5 when you look at it.
I mean, he always has a consistent offense. He he doesn't perform especially well against the Eagles for whatever reason. But you know, they almost came into our house in the middle of the snow game and almost upset us. So like, again, he has those guys playing really well. They dug out of a hole of having no draft picks. He's always been a consistent guy, to your point, probably definitely top 5. I don't have any complaints with him at 3.
No.
Number 4, John Harbaugh. He's the pillar of consistency, right?
Yeah, they're consistent as all hell. They just can't seem to get, you know, over the hump with Lamar right now. But like, I understand the consistency aspect that I get. But to me, if you're going to be putting, you know, Harbaugh this high, like, where's Sean McDermott? Because he's not on the top 10. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Like, for me, it's like, I understand the consistency aspect and what they've done the last, you know, number of years. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. And listen, neither have the Buffalo Bills. But again, that's a coach that's snubbed from this list.
How long has he been the coach of the Bills?
McDermott?
So only since 2017.
Yeah, I would believe
it feels like a lot longer. Harbaugh's been there for what, 14 years?
I think Harbaugh's been there. Yeah, it's maybe even more than that, actually.
Yeah, since 2008. 2008. Yeah. So 17 years.
Yeah.
So like, he has a little bit more clout because of the consistency over a longer span of time, a larger sample size. I get it. And I don't necessarily disagree because he always has his guys in contention. Even when they have a like subpar defense, right? Like by Baltimore standards, they still make noise.
Yeah.
And I will point out that is the game. People have asked me, when did you know we were going to go to the Super Bowl and potentially win it? That game to me. And I think that speaks volumes again to John Harbaugh's ranking here, because he always has a tough team. That's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were able to go into their house and beat them down physically. And yeah, they scored in garbage time, made it look a little bit closer. But like, that's how I knew, because we were able to beat one of the most consistently physical teams. So again, I don't have any qualms with Harbaugh there at 4.
Yeah. And my biggest hit, number 5, Mike Tomlin at 5. Like, come on. Last time he won a playoff game, the Eagles had 0 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So it's been
2009, right?
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
It's been almost a decade since he's won, I believe. Actually, no, it's probably been more than
they haven't won a playoff game since 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Or
so, yeah, it's been longer than that. So it's been a whole hell of a long time since he's won a playoff game. Like, if you want to have him at, 8, 9, 10, I get that. That's fine, because he's never had a losing season. And that's totally understandable. But to put him at the top 5, like, come on, what are we doing?
Well,
because
it's the larger sample size, it's the longevity. I think there's, I get having him up there. Guys want to play for him. He's always got a competitive team. Him and Harbaugh beat the shit out of each other twice a year. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite rivalries in all of sports, outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I love
It is
watching
good.
Steelers-Ravens games. When they're on, I'm watching.
Yeah.
They're just-
I would agree with you there. Like, I agree with that. But I just don't agree with him being 5. I think it's kind of ridiculous. Number 6, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, number 6 is where I draw the line.
Like, come on. Like, I know if you want to look at what he did in San Francisco, but that was eternity ago.
Different
And-
team. Yeah, different
Exactly.
team, different era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to put him in the 9-10 range, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But as of right now, no, I don't think he belongs anywhere near this selection they had him at. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
I don't think he belongs being above the next 2 guys.
No, I would agree with you.
I would say the next 3, maybe 4.
Like, number 7's Kyle Shanahan. Now, I know he's not able to get it done, but he's been to multiple Super Bowls, and he's had successful teams in his time in San Francisco. So, like, he deserves to be, up a spot or 2.
Well, and with McVay, he's got that offensive ingenuity, right? Like, he's considered one of the great minds of play calling and play design. I get it, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if teams are trying to emulate what you're doing, you're a good coach.
Yeah,
Right?
because
like, people are like trying to get the next McVay, which they thought they had in LaFleur and in Green Bay, and what they thought they had in Shanahan in San Francisco, which they do to an extent. Like, that means you're a good coach. And Shanahan has become his own little like copycat, right? People are trying to emulate what he does. They're doing the short motion, the cheat motion. They did that in Miami. Like, I get it. I think he's a good coach. Do I like him? No. Do I respect him? Not really. But like, he's a good coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Has he struggled? And I don't know when it comes to San Francisco whether or not how long his leash is going to be if they keep, if they wind up struggling. Their division is not getting easier. It's going to get tougher. The teams that are in that division are getting tougher. But
yeah,
number 8 is just the Super Bowl, the defending Super Bowl champ, the Super Bowl winning head coach Nick Sirianni's 8th. Like, come on, what are we doing? He's been to 2 out of the last 3 Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. To me, he at least has to be 5.
I 1,000% agree. 48-20, I think, in the regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the playoffs, he's outstanding. 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, 3 years. Aside from his initial press conference and that collapse in 2023, like, he's done a near perfect job. His guys want to play for him, and he's taken, what we thought was going to be a bottom of the league roster to contender every year.
Until you look at, like, the man who's number 1 on this list, Nick Sirianni has, overtaken him and leaped him to the start of his career. Like, when Andy Reid started in 99, yes, he turned the Eagles franchise around and made the multiple playoffs, but no Eagles head coach in team history has ever been to, since starting to now, like, he's been there since 2021. He's been there 4 years, had made the playoffs 4 straight years.
Yeah.
He's been to 2 out of the 4 years he's been there has been to the Super Bowl. Like, he's done things that no head coach has done to start their career with the Eagles. And, like, his sample size is smaller, but again, this is returning head coaches, not head coaches, what they've done. Like, this is what he's doing right now in this short time that he's been a head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. But also, when you're taking a look at the rest of these coaches on the list, some of them have longevity. Some of them have, success. But when you take a look at Nick Sirianni, he deserves to be at least in the top 5 conversation because of what he's done with this Philadelphia Eagles team. And, don't give me the whole, the roster is so stacked and all this kind of stuff, because we'll get into the next list, because right there, the next list is proving, everyone who's saying that, if one list is going one way, you can't go the other way. Like, you can't be a flip-flopper. But to have number 8 is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion.
Well, and two things come to mind is like, one, I think it's funny how everybody wants to dub us a super team until it comes to ranking the team, right?
Yeah.
Until it comes to ranking the players and like where we rank as a defense, as an offense, as a head coach, we're a super team. Oh, we were supposed to win. Like, we're a stacked team. And then you see these rankings, you're like, well, I thought we were a stacked team. Why are we bottom below 10, right? Not a top 5 head coach, not a top 10 quarterback, right? And like that leads me to my other point is I don't know that it's an accident with the success that we have in the people that we have at quarterback and head coach.
Yeah.
They are very similar from a mindset. They're very similar in that dog mentality, that no one believes in us, chip on our shoulder, kind of always working to get better mentality. I don't think it's definitely not a mistake. The two of them together, I don't think get the amount of respect that they should, because they're not the traditional prototype of a quarterback and a head coach, right? They're giving flower speeches and fumbling their words at an introductory press conference. They were benched at Oklahoma or at Alabama, didn't quite get it done in Oklahoma. They thought he was a running back, not a quarterback, right? Like, there's all this doubt in both of them. And I think both of them thrive off of it. And if anything, like, this is only going to make both of them hungrier.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my little. I think there's some sort of synergy there, and it's not a coincidence that they're so successful together.
And hey, hopefully the more success, the better for this franchise, this fan base, with those two guys at the helm. And, to round out the list, 9 was Dan Campbell and 10 was Kevin Stefanski. But to me, like,
can real quick, 10, I don't agree with.
No, he shouldn't even be on the list. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's had how many opportunities in terms of with this Browns team, and it always comes down to being they can't get over the hump. They're not good enough. Yeah. At some point it comes down to coaching, and maybe to me, maybe he's just not a fit as a head coach, and maybe more of a coordinator. And again, that happens. But to me, at number 10, like, come on, why isn't Sean McDermott at least 10? When you take a look at,
I would even argue like Kevin O'Connell.
True.
If you're going off of recency bias and his ability to do what he did with Darnold, like, Kevin O'Connell makes sense. Matt LaFleur makes sense. He's consistently in the playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't think about Matt LaFleur. It's kind of a snub because he's been super successful with the Green Bay Packers since he started there. So.
Another McVay protege who's working with a wide receiver by committee and still throwing up a million yards. His development of Jordan Love is impressive. Like, I don't know. I think he deserves a little love. Don't love him as a coach. Like, I don't love his personality. I think him and the whole McVay coaching tree are a little whiny for me, but like, he's a good coach.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. But now getting into the next list, I saw this. I don't know who posted it in terms of what site that posted it, or who's trying to essentially poke the bird, if you want to call it that.
All right.
Top 25 NFL offenses, top 10. They have Detroit number 1. I'm just going to go through the whole list, and then we'll talk about the issue we have here, which is, of course, the Eagles are absent from the list. Number 1, the Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. 3, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4, Buffalo Bills. 5, the Arizona Cardinals. 6, Washington Commanders. 7, the Cincinnati Bengals. 8, the Green Bay Packers. 9, the San Francisco 49ers. And 10, the Atlanta Falcons. Where the hell are the Philadelphia Eagles?
I don't agree with most of those. Who was number 1 again? Give me the top 5.
So Detroit, Baltimore, Tampa, Buffalo, Arizona is the top 5. Like, I get, okay, Tampa Bay has had Baker Mayfield's had a resurgence there, everything. Oh, I get that. Okay. They're not number 3 offense in the NFL. Stop. Like, they're not. And then Arizona, to me, that comes out of absolutely nowhere. Like, Kyler Murray, yes, he may be a serviceable player. I don't think he's that good. honestly, in my opinion. And yeah, okay, they have Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. But
Wow.
like, what have they showed you? They haven't showed you anything. How can they even be a top 5 NFL offense? Like this isn't just NFC. This is the whole league.
Yeah, and I honestly would put. I think a lot of this, and the problem with these lists is a lot of this is like assuming that people are going to be healthy, assuming that draft picks are going to pan out.
But like
Right.
the Eagles, thing is, the Eagles didn't lose anybody on offense except for the right guard, which Tyler Steen played, a number of games and snaps when there were injuries and stuff like that. So it's not like he's never played before, and that's the only position that has changed. Like they didn't lose anybody else.
Yeah.
So
and we've only added to the offensive line. We've only added to the running back room. I'd love to see how they're making these lists. Like I think a lot of this is quarterback driven. Obviously, I mean it's the offense, right? So like you look at these aside from the Detroit Lions, you have a lot of really dynamic quarterbacks that everyone's in love with, except for maybe the Niners and Falcons. But like, I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. It's hard in this scenario. I don't know how you can have the Super Bowl MVP, the PFF number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, the number 1 running back in the NFL, and rushing champion.
Yeah.
The number 1 offensive line in the NFL, the best number 2 in the NFL. Like I don't know how you go from that after a Super Bowl, a convincing 40-point Super Bowl win, to not even being considered a top 10 offense.
Yeah, like I'm not saying the Eagles have to be the number 1 offense, but they're at least at worst top 5. Like, come on. Like,
I mean,
at
worst, they're top 10.
Yeah, at worst, absolutely. But to me, I'm thinking they're more. If you want to not put them 1, 2, like you can at least put them in the 3 to 5 range. Like they fit in somewhere there. Looking at everybody that is on that offense, and I'm sorry, but Atlanta doesn't deserve to be in there. I don't care.
Who are their weapons outside of
they have Drake London?
They have Pitts, London, and they have
Bijan Robinson.
Right, and they have an unproven
Michael Penix is the quarterback.
Penix, right? A pissed off Kirk Cousins. I mean, they've done a ton for the offensive line, if I'm not mistaken, in the offseason. So who did they draft?
But Matt, like looking at this, if we're talking about quarterback driven, where the hell are the Chiefs? Like the team that's been in the last 3 Super Bowls. Like I understand their weapons aren't the same as it's been, but they're at least the top 10 offense. Come on.
They didn't even take an offensive player in the draft. So like I don't even know. Like I thought maybe that would improve their stock a little bit.
At least 10. Like you at least got to put them at 10.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
that's pretty wild.
Even like I hate to say it because it's rival of the Eagles.
What about the Rams?
Yeah. No, that's another one. I didn't even think about that. The Rams were cutting Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
What about the Dallas Cowboys? Like I understand they're a rival and everything, but
yeah,
come on. Like,
it's a little bogus.
To me, Tampa.
Especially once you get to 9 and 10. Like once I get to 9 and 10, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, to me,
the Niners lost Debo. They might get CMC back.
Arizona doesn't belong in there either. So you take Arizona out, you take Atlanta, and even if you want to take either Green Bay or San Fran, those 3 teams, and Tampa should be down near 8-9 area.
Yeah.
They're another one that's like, I'm not too sure, but
I mean,
to me,
their wide receiving core is ridiculous, and
with Godwin and Evans, and then of course they got the guys drafted last year, and then of course they got Egbuka. So they've got talent, but that's why maybe 8-9. But
their running backs play way above expectations, right? You got Irving, you got
Irving.
You had who's it, Rashad White?
Rashad White. I don't know. Just the disrespect is just absolutely crazy.
I don't hate them being on the list at number 3 is a little ridiculous. But again, I think this is taking some assumptions into mind. But if that's the case, then you should assume that the Falcons and the Niners are going to suck.
So when I see some of these lists and when I see what's being talked about and everything in regards to the Eagles being blatantly left off or disrespected, I think a lot of it has to do with what I said earlier in terms of engagement farming. People know if they leave the Eagles off somewhere or they rank them super low, it's going to get a lot of comments, likes, reposts, all that stuff. So to me, is that happening? Like, do they actually think that, or is it they're going to do that because they want to try to get more views, more likes, more follows, whatever it may be?
I'd like to think it's the latter. I think some of it is just bad analysis, and I think a lot of that all the time. I think a lot of people look at the Eagles offseason and just assume we lost the entire team. It's pretty interesting how I hear people talking about the defense, especially like they lost Milton Williams, they lost Josh Sweat, they lost CJ. Like, I get it. CJ is a big loss, and Sweat and Milton played extremely well for us, especially in the Super Bowl. But like, we have Nolan, we have Jalix Hunt, who took a big step forward. We brought in Uche, we brought in Ojulari, right?
You have Jomo stepping in. You have
Jomo who had one of the highest pass rushing percentages in the NFL on like a quarter of the snaps, right? You just drafted the Vanilla Gorilla, right? And so like, I don't think people look at what we did to replace it or the plan that we had in place to replace you guys and just assume, oh, they got big contracts elsewhere, so the Eagles are toast. Right?
Yeah.
So like they did the same thing when Hargrave left. So I don't know. It's I think people just kind of look at who we lost and just assume we didn't have a backup plan, or that there wasn't a contingency plan, or there wasn't the next guy up that was already waiting in the wings. So I think that's part of it. I think people are just so far removed. A lot of these people that are making these lists don't follow the Eagles very closely. A lot of them are national guys and know a little bit about every team. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but like, we're obviously very close to it. We've got, a green shade of glasses on. And so sure, we probably see things a little bit differently than a national guy would. But at the same time, I do think there is a level of disrespect. I think there's a decent level of ignorance to the moves that the Eagles made in the last 2 or 3 years to account for this. So I think there's a little bit of that and clickbait.
Yeah, fortunately. Want to finish it up here. So last week we did the Eagles all quarter century team. Well, we forgot 3 spots that we didn't mention. I want to wrap it up with this. We have to pick a head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator. We forgot those. We have to.
We're human.
Yeah. So, and I'm not doing GM because it's going to be Howie Roseman. He's the GM basically the whole tenure. So I'm not even going to go there.
GM and owner, we already got to figure it out. We don't have the same thing.
But so for that, let's start with the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and then finish with the head coach. So for the defensive coordinator, essentially, to me, there's 3 guys that you may think about. Fangio, of course, being one. They just won the Super Bowl, best defense in the NFL. Jim Schwartz, because they did win a Super Bowl with him as well. And, of course, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, those would be my 3 as well.
But I think, I know recency bias sometimes come into play, but Fangio is just one season. Do you put him on there, or do you put the guy with longevity in terms of Jim Johnson?
So I have the opposite of recency bias, and was cut my teeth, right? I was Eagles baptized by Jim Johnson. Like, his defenses were so elite. And he had some of the best players in the history of the NFL, and Dawkins and Trotter, and, our franchise's history, and Trent Cole and some of those guys. But I loved the way that Jim Johnson did it. It's hard. This is hard because Fangio did just such a good job with that defense that was so abysmal, running the same scheme in just the year prior and the year before that. Like we ran the Fangio defense. They couldn't figure it out. They didn't know when to call what plays and what scenarios. Like he came in and he was the difference.
It's just hard because it's just one season. I know they won the Super Bowl. I know the best defense. But when you look at longevity aspect, like Jim was here 99 until I believe 2008.
Yeah.
So it's 10 seasons. Like
my initial gut was Jim Johnson.
Yeah, and that's who I thought.
And Schwartz makes sense because he won it, and he had some dominant seasons with the front seven. But like, I didn't even have a question that it was going to be Jim Johnson until you brought up Fangio. And
I was leaning Jim Johnson when I thought of it. I just threw those other two out there because those were the defensive coordinators when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the only position that I had any question about would be offensive coordinator coming into this conversation. Yeah. But Fangio, very close second, if not.
I would agree with you with that. Now, offensive coordinator is the tough one because I know some people want to say, what?
Brian Johnson.
Terrible. The issue with the Andy Reid era is essentially Andy Reid was the offensive coordinator. Like Marty Mornhinweg didn't call plays. Like it was Andy. So I kind of take those out. Like the Chip Kelly aspect, same thing. It's like it's tough. Like for me, I went with Frank Reich.
It's got to be.
Like, yeah. It's kind of tough. Like you can go Kellen Moore. You can always go Shane Steichen, but.
So the reason I lean Frank Reich is because of what he did after Wentz went down.
Yeah.
So he had Wentz humming, right? Like he had Wentz rock and rolling. Like he looked like a top 3 player in the league. I got his jersey because I was like, this dude's not going anywhere. He's going to be the man. Sorry for everyone.
Like many of us did. So
yeah, I jinxed Wentz. It's all me. I'll take that responsibility. But like he tore his ACL, and obviously you had Foles. No one knew that Foles had this in him. Foles didn't know he had it in him. And when Frank simplified the playbook, he brought in the RPOs to open it up a little bit. He completely adjusted his offense to fit what Nick wanted to do and what he was good at. And obviously it was a success. But I think the coaching job that he did adjusting to his personnel through severe adversity, lost your left tackle, lost your starting running back, lost your starting quarterback. You had uncertainty at left guard between Sayamalu and Wisniewski, right? He was able to make that switch. I know that's not all Frank, but I think he did a tremendous job and coached his ass off for at least, 6 games, which is a small sample size, but he ultimately won the whole thing. And I'll never forget the way that he adjusted it and made Foles look like a perennial All-Pro.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was long-winded.
It's okay.
Per year. Sirianni.
So I'll play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
So Andy Reid. When you look at Andy Reid, all those wins, all those championship game, appearances and everything. Do you look at longevity there, or since Sirianni made 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls and have won it and beat Andy, do you put that over it?
I don't have any.
This isn't really like recency bias. I'm just only giving devil's advocate point because I want to at least bring that up. I don't want to say, yes, Sirianni, because that's who I had too. But I'm just giving you the other point when you look at the head coaches and you look at Andy Reid, because you have to look at him with the tenure that he had in this, this quarter century, essentially.
He never won it.
Yeah. I think the thing that really puts it there is like, my aspect of it is like Sirianni, he won the thing. So that if they didn't get it done, I think it's Andy, because
1,000%. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have put Doug Peterson. I know Doug Peterson won one, but there was too much chaos at the end of that too quickly. So I think you're right. Sirianni is the pull there because, again, what would you say, 48-20? Like,
yeah,
his record, playoff record, Super Bowl win, that trumps everything because, like, Andy was here all those years to start this quarter century. But again, Sirianni the last 4 seasons has done many of things that Eagles coaches had never done before him. So I think that's why Sirianni should get the nod. But I just wanted to wrap those up because we forgot those originally, and I wanted to put those in before I post our lists. And they're missing head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator for people to get mad. People are still going to get mad at anyway. So
I'd love to hear what people think. I'd love to hear what you guys think about those rankings and what you think about the coaches. Right? Like, did we get it right? Do you have any? We'd love to hear your opinion. What did we get right? What did we get wrong?
So I will be posting them. I'm going to do it in kind of separate, not everything at once. Haven't decided yet how I want to fully do it, but I will be posting it. So keep an eye out for that. As always, make sure that you're following, you're subscribing. Everything is down below there, our accounts. So make sure you hit those like and follow buttons just so you can, see what we're doing. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned for this summer and this upcoming season. So definitely keep an eye out for us. Almost a tongue twister there. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye out for us. And, we got a lot of stuff that's going to be really exciting. And I'm pretty juiced up to talk about it and have some fun.
Less than a month until training camp, too. So we have a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about leading up to training camp, too. We're going to get into some of the training camp battles that we're looking out for.
Yep.
Love to get into that. And then hopefully we'll have some this is around the time of year that Howie likes to make some moves. So, keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll have some breaking news.
Yeah. And with that, as we always end it, with a very special and only 2 words, but it is Go Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.